Andy Burnham has committed to reviewing this early prisoner release scheme. Is that the right decision?
Well, I certainly hope it is, but once again, with Andy Burnham, we don't know any of the details. I think the news that Andy Harper's killers might be released early has shocked people in Thames Valley. Obviously, it has a huge impact on the family. But this really just highlights the wider problems with the Sentencing Act. I think it's right that these killers should stay in prison and serve their sentence. I think that's what most people would expect, but it's not good enough just to review things around this case. We need to have a proper look again at the Sentencing Act and some of the perhaps unintended consequences that it creates.
Because some Conservatives are saying just cancel the early release entirely. But would you say don't go that far, just exclude, sex offenders and serious criminals from this early release?
Well, undoubtedly, we do have a challenge around prison places, but the solution cannot surely be to say we're going to let thousands of criminals back out onto our streets, which is going to put more pressure on our police officers, who are just going to be going around rounding these people up again for more offences that they commit. We'd like to see more victims of crime. And at the other end of the spectrum, we're seeing it harder to get sent to prison in the first place. Fewer and fewer people going into prison for custodial sentences. So I do think we have a real problem with the Sentencing Act. I think it probably is right to look at the whole thing again, because we're seeing some really perverse outcomes.
But then you're going to be back where we were 2 years ago, where, there was a crisis that prisons were going to overflow if they didn't take urgent action. And now you've got, headroom of 3,000 vacant spaces, I think, in prisons across England and Wales. So if you repeal that act, you're going to be back to square one, aren't you?
Well, part of the problem with the Sentencing Act in particular is it just makes some blanket changes to people's sentences. It doesn't allow the Lord Chancellor, for example, to intervene in particular cases. It just looks at particular crime types and says, that's it, you're getting out early. So it doesn't take into account a risk around individual prisoners, the risk they might pose to other people in the community. So I think we do need a fundamental look again, that it's not just about, most people don't want to see prisoners released early, full stop, but we need to look at the mechanisms in which this government has put in place to do that, because I think they are going to cause real problems for people across the country.